Hey everyone, this is Josh Hayward, and welcome to episode 11 of 31 Days of Pumpkin. We are rapidly approaching the halfway mark of this amazing series, and it's been quite a blast. It's been a lot of fun. We've seen a variety of different kind of brews, lots of them all very different from one another, which has been great. Tonight's going to be no different. We've got the Pumpkin Hunter, the ale brewed with pumpkin and spices from Devil's Backbone Brewing Company out of Lexington, Kentucky. I live in the Carolinas. I've seen a few Devil's Backbone brews down this way. Pretty sure they distribute pretty decently kind of in the area around their states. So if you've had some of their brews, let me know what you think. Have not ever had this brew actually, and it's got a pretty neat label there. There is a guy, like a hunter. He's got a bow and arrow, and he's riding a bear, and I guess he's hunting pumpkin. Because there's like a jack-o'-lantern over in the bushes, over in the reeds or whatever. But pretty neat bottle art. That's been something else that's been cool too. Through these, looking at all these different pumpkin beers, a lot of them have pretty decent bottle art or can art. It's been pretty cool to see kind of what the breweries are doing, innovative on the outside and inside the bottle. So pretty neat. Let's give this thing a pour and see what we've got. Like I said, I've never had this beer, so really looking forward to seeing what we have here. Devil's Backbone usually puts out some pretty good brews, so definitely looking forward to this one. So first glance, we've got just a pretty standard golden looking color here. Kind of looks just like a pale ale or a golden ale. Kind of a little more yellow. I guess the correct term would be a little more straw colored towards the bottom here, but a deep, rich yellow here. Kind of reminds you of the inside of a pumpkin or fall time. There's quite a bit of carbonation in this beer. The bubbles are just continuing to effervesce, going up, rising up in the glass there. Give it a little swirl. Immediately there's a little bit of an off-white head here. But then as it settles out, it kind of takes on more of a just standard white hue. And as I did that, I was able to get some of those fall aromas from the beer as well. But yeah, pretty standard looking brew. There is a decent bit of haze in it, which is encouraging. As we've mentioned in some of the videos in the past, if you see that haze, it usually means they put some of that real pumpkin in it, which I love. Love to see them actually putting actual real pumpkin in it. That's a good thing. It doesn't have a whole lot of taste, but it is going to add some body and change some of the other factors of the beer. So yeah, let's see what we've got on the nose. This is interesting on the nose. The first thing I'm getting is a sweetness, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily a malty sweetness. If anything, it's kind of a pale malt type aroma. Maybe some white bread, but I'm getting another type of sweetness in there. I almost liken it to maybe sugar or vanilla or something like that. Yeah, I want to say vanilla. There may be some cinnamon in there. There's not much, not very heavy on the fall spices. We've had some of these beers over the last few days just been chock full of spices and almost sometimes at times spice overload. Just it's tough to discern what all was there, but I'm not getting much of that here. I don't know if that's just my nose and the day or what, but not getting a whole lot. Getting a subtle sweetness in there, almost like a vanilla in a way. Not much malt, not much hops. All right, I'm not getting too much more on the nose there, so we're gonna give it a taste and see what we've got. Cheers. It's a very carbonated beer. As I took a sip, that's kind of the first thing that I noticed. Lots of bubbles, lots of. It's a very dry beer too. Lots of bubbles, and you can just feel that carbonation. Really changes the mouthfeel of the beer. One moment. There's a sharp taste at the beginning of this particular beer. It's kind of tough to put my finger on what exactly it is. I'm not getting much malt here. If anything, just kind of a white bread type malt. A lot of these other pumpkin brews have been on the darker side. They're getting into some of the biscuit, toasted bread type flavors, even some caramel flavors from some of the darker malts, kind of getting a little darker in that scale. This is very, very straightforward, kind of just a white bread type taste. I'm still getting that sweetness in there. I'm not sure what it is. I still kind of liken it to a very, very subtle vanilla type flavor. Could simply be some sugar combined with some of these spices that's throwing me off a little bit. But yeah, ale brew with pumpkin and spices. We're going to see if they said anything else about it on the bottle. I'm getting a little bit of hops in here actually, which is pleasant. That's something we haven't seen in a lot of these particular pumpkin ales. The taste, aroma, the flavor of a hop has been drowned out by some of the other things that have been added in these beers. But I'm getting some little bit of a hoppy taste towards the back end of this the sip. It adds some dryness to the sip, and also kind of it's a pleasant bitterness, something that again we haven't seen a whole lot of in some of these pumpkin ales because of some of them having a good bit of sugar in it. It kind of cuts down on that perceived bitterness. I'm not tasting a whole lot as far as the autumn spices or the pumpkin spices. There may be maybe a little bit of cinnamon, maybe some nutmeg and ginger, but not much. I mean, if I was to lay out all these brews and rate them as far as spiciness goes, this is going to be on the end with hardly any spice as compared to the other ones. I'm not getting a whole lot, and I know it says they brewed it with spices on the bottle. No doubt they put some in it, but it is not the focal point of this beer as it has been with some. There's another taste in here. I'm having a tough time really placing my finger on, and it kind of shows up mid taste, and it's almost a dryness, but it's not a spicy dryness. It's not a dryness that comes from hops. It's something totally different, and I'm really not sure what it is. Almost like if you've ever bit into I don't know what you have, the type of fruits you have in your particular region of the country you live in. We have what we call persimmons here in the South. If you ever bite an unripe persimmon, it's so sour and dry, it makes your lips pucker, literally. Like it just sucks all the moisture out of your mouth, and it makes it really, really dry. I'm tasting that in here. I'm not saying they put unripe persimmons in their beer, but when I take a sip of this mid-taste, that's what I'm reminded of. It's a very dryness. It's like I've got beer in my mouth, but my mouth feels very, very dry. After taking that sip, again, that dryness is so strong mid-taste, and then aftertaste. As I took that sip, I got a little more cinnamon in that particular sip. But as far as it's a lighter type beer, especially from in comparison to what else we've seen thus far. I keep saying thus far. We've heard 11 days in now, but kind of on the lighter side again because of the malt. Not very heavy of a beer. It's a lighter type beer, medium mouthfeel, decently carbonated, more carbonated than some of the other ones we've tried. But yeah, interesting pumpkin beer. No complaints. Can't say that it's necessarily a favorite. That dryness that's showing up mid-taste is kind of throwing me. I really wish I knew where that was coming from. But hey, that's why we taste beer, and that's why we try a whole bunch of different things to kind of see what we like, see what we don't like, challenge our palate, so to speak. If you've had this beer, let me know what you think. I'm really, really interested to see what other people think about this one, as I am about all of these. But especially for this one, because I can't really place what I'm tasting mid-taste, and I'll admit it. It's got me beat. But cheers to Devil's Backbone. Pretty decent pumpkin beer. Yeah, good one for day 11. Day 11 is in the books. Thank you so much for following along, guys. 31 Days of Pumpkin continues tomorrow. We'll see you later. Cheers.